People, we're only a week away. In fact, actually, we're less than a week away. By this time next week, we'll be talking about the fallout of Deontay Wilder's return. And listen, I don't want to labour the point. I've already spoke at great length about my thoughts on Deontay Wilder, on this comeback, on this attempt to, I don't even know what it is really at this point. He's not mentioned a world. To be honest with you, I really just don't understand this at all from Deontay Wilder. Guy's pushing 40. Well, he'll be 40 in October. The guy hasn't looked good. Like, when is the last time he actually looked good? I'm not talking about in victory, all right? I mean, like, just in general. When is the last time he looked good? He didn't look good against Luis Ortiz when he knocked him out in the rematch. He was getting outboxed by as slow as molasses Ortiz. That was 6 years ago nearly. He didn't look good in either of the Fury fights. I mean, you could say he looked okay in the trilogy fight, but he was blown after a round, and he looked good in parts. When he dropped Fury, he still had something there, but that was it really. I mean, when is the last performance you looked at Deontay Wilder and thought, yeah, Dominic Brazil, but Dominic Brazil, slow as molasses, tailor-made for Deontay Wilder. So you're going back a while. And going into this fight this coming Friday, there's a lot of questions about Deontay Wilder, how his mental state is, because he gave an interview last weekend with Ariel Hawali, and he didn't fill you with confidence that he's in a good headspace. And also, myself and Ade recorded Ade and G-Man the other day, and Ade was the one who pointed out to me, I wasn't even aware of this, that apparently Malik Scott is not in Team Wilder for this fight, or certainly, not at the time of recording this. Deontay Wilder's been undergoing his training camp, as he always does. I think it's in a gym in somewhere in Alabama. I forget where exactly it is, but it's somewhere in Alabama, probably in Tuscaloosa or somewhere around there. And missing is Malik Scott. Now, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? That is the actual question there. I'll tell you why. Because Malik Scott is, well, and the reason why I said that is because Malik Scott was in Croatia, I think it was, with his wife Kate Abdo, or Kate Scott as she's known now. So, he's away from his fighter, or, his reported fighter, in the run-up to, albeit an easy fight on paper. Wilder, where he's at now, I really think he needs, all hands on deck, even in this fight. So it's an interesting one there. Listen, Malik Scott, in my opinion, has done nothing but harm to Deontay Wilder. I think that Mark Breland didn't really, Wilder is always going to be who he is, right? Mark Breland couldn't change that. And I think Mark Breland was smart enough to know that he couldn't turn Deontay Wilder into a Pernell Whitaker or a Floyd Mayweather in terms of technique. So yeah, that was that. But if nothing else, he cared for his fighter. He was the one who would tell Deontay Wilder the harsh truths when he didn't want to hear them. And obviously Deontay Wilder surrounded himself with yes men. Obviously Mark Breland being the exception. So when it came down to it, he chose the yes men. He brought in Malik Scott, a former opponent. Malik Scott as a fighter was no great shakes. He had a bit of ability, but he was no great shakes. And Malik Scott, obviously, as a fighter, he fought Deontay Wilder, he fought Derek Chisora, fought Luis Ortiz, stunk the place out in Monaco, really horrible performance by Malik Scott there. And Malik Scott was always trying to get the bag. He was mentioning Anthony Joshua, he was mentioning other people. As a fighter, he was always trying to get the bag, as you're supposed to do. You want to retire and never have to work a day again. Fair enough, right? So he does that. He then becomes a trainer and starts training Deontay Wilder, who is demanding high purses. And he is a name, albeit with the right dance partner, but still a name. And he is demanding high purses. So Malik Scott is getting a cut of them. And I would hazard a guess that in the time he's been training Deontay Wilder, he has made more money out of Deontay Wilder than maybe even in one fight, like the trilogy fight with Fury. He may have made more money in that one fight alone than he ever did during the course of his professional boxing career. And I would actually say, I would take that to the bank and go with that. I would say that that's probably true. And what has that done for Deontay Wilder's career? It's done nothing good for him in terms of performances. In fact, if anything, many fighters and many fans are saying, you've regressed under Malik Scott, and I would be one of them saying exactly the same. It does look like you've regressed under Malik Scott. You're not performing to the best of your ability. You're not looking particularly good. And the guy clearly doesn't have your best interest at heart. He might give you, all this, you're my brother, you're this, you're my friend, blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. But at the end of the day, this is a guy who is literally, he wants you to keep going so he can keep lining his pockets. That's literally what Malik Scott is, and that's what he's been doing. So if he does bin Malik Scott, or if he has been Malik Scott, my only question is who are you going to get in its place? You know, at the end of the day, Wilder's not the brightest, and what good is it getting rid of one yes man if you go and you bring in another one? You know, you're not going to learn anything, you're not going to improve anything. My man is going to be throwing the same dodgy looking jab and being told it's brilliant, it's on par with Larry Holmes. Wilder is nearly 40, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but at the very least, at least someone tell him the truth and actually get him in the right frame of mind. Because I don't think Malik Scott or anyone in his team, they don't have his best interest, that's clear. And I don't think any of them can get him in the right frame of mind, to be honest with you. I think right now Wilder is... maybe we'll know more after, well, we'll definitely know more after Friday, but I would hazard a guess he is at the lowest of the low in terms of where he's at in his respective career. I would just be hazarding a guess on that one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Deontay Wilder, he may not be with Malik Scott anymore. Let me know your thoughts. Good thing, bad thing, indifferent. Let me know your thoughts. Peace.